Hey there guys, welcome back to Hursty Games and welcome to a brand new promo, the Road to the Knockout promo on FIFA 23. It is our second promo, obviously, with One to Watch just finishing. Only a 1 week promo for One to Watch. I'm going to kind of assume we might get a 1 week promo for Road to the Knockout as well. Be interesting to see what they do because I'm not entirely sure just yet. But I'm going to look through all the cards that have come out. Obviously, there's going to be some objectives, probably SBCs, and obviously a team of packable players. I'll give you guys my thoughts on the team. Let's have a look at them. Okay, the first thing we're going to look at here is the Dejan SBC that has come out. This is obviously an upgradable card, UCL Road to the Final, 4-star, 3-star, 6'1", high medium right winger, also playable at right mid and centre forward. Immediate thoughts on this card. Looks pretty good. I think the actual face value of the card is pretty decent. I like the way his card looks. The balance is a little bit low. That's something worth bearing in mind. For 6'1", the heading accuracy and jumping is not great, but I think most people probably would play this guy out wide. I would say you're probably looking at maybe a engine if you're wanting to get the balance up a little bit. Otherwise, you're looking at something like a hawk. That'll probably do a job too. Traits are finesse shot and flair. The finesse shots I find are pretty good this year. I think him having a decent week for 3 stars, not the end of the world, I think does help. Obviously, being left-footed on that right-hand side, cutting in and getting chances, I think is going to be preferable. One thing I will say is if you compare his cards to Raheem Sterling, they are pretty much the same price, except Kulusevski is a little bit more expensive. So Kulusevski is an extra 84 rated team, and then he has the 85 and the 86, whereas Sterling is just the 85 and the 86. I'll be honest with you guys, I'm probably only going to do one of these, and if I was only going to do one, I'm going to do Raheem. Part of that is because, obviously, ex-QPR player. You guys know me, I like having as many past and present QPR players in my club as I can. But personally, I just think it's a slightly better card for a cheaper price. The main thing that Kulusevski has on him is the better passing and the better physicality. But Sterling can play on the left and on the right. That to me is quite important because it does add a lot of versatility to your team. I think, again, Kulusevski can play central, but it's centre forward, which really does limit you for a couple of different formations. I don't think it's bad. I don't think it's bad value, but it's not one that I'm going to be completing personally. Slightly annoyingly, I actually can't search the cards and find that in games as they're apparently not in the game yet. But I can show you guys these cards you can see on your screen here. And there are some pretty nice looking cards. I'll try and zoom in a bit so you guys can see it a little bit clearer. First and foremost, Lionel Messi. This year, his card is absolutely insane. He's so good in game. Really, really good. PSG, I see going at least a decent way. You know, even if they don't win it, I see them going pretty far and him getting a pretty gosh darn good card. So I think Lionel Messi is going to be unreal, but probably very expensive. Aubameyang, again, Chelsea, obviously, Potter having a pretty good start to his time in the Champions League in regards to the game against Milan the other day. Still not really a foregone conclusion, that group, but I do think they're going to be okay, and I do think he'll end up getting some upgrades. Even if they end up going out of the Champions League group, which I don't think they will, they'll go obviously down and progress to other tournaments. So I think Aubameyang's going to be a very, very good card. I've also really hated playing against Aubameyang this year. He has been a pain in the backside to play against. Obviously, you can link quite easily to that Sterling as well, so plenty of links. Phil Foden, what a card. I'd love to see if he can play Cam like his main card, because holy, his card is really good this year. His base card is unreal. That card is going to be disgusting. Phil Foden is one of those cards I think this year is going to be unreal. At an 88 off the bat as well. I see City going very far. I see him getting big upgrades. I would be surprised if he's any less than like a 92 by the end of this promo. So for me, Foden is a phenomenal looking card to pick up. And again, I think is an absolute steal depending on his price. He's going to be expensive, so maybe steal is not the right word. Thomas Müller, I think pleasantly surprised by this card. A lot of cards this year that aren't usable in other FIFAs are really, really good this year. I'm currently using Modric in my main team, and I love him. And obviously in other FIFAs, he would just be unusable. I'd say an engine or a catalyst or something like that, depending on what kind of position you're playing that Müller card in. And I think you're laughing. I think it's a really, really viable card this year. And again, Bayern Munich, a team you'd expect to go pretty far. So I'm not too surprised to see him doing pretty well or getting plenty of upgrades. Gerard Moreno, Villarreal are like the goats of European football, really, aren't they? They tend to win something most years. So I wouldn't be surprised to see them do pretty well in the conference. I would probably assume they're one of the favourites to go pretty far in the whole thing. So for me personally, I think he's probably going to be pretty good to pick up. I've not used Moreno this year, so I have no idea how good his base is or how his playstyle is. But again, with so many players being viable this year that weren't in previous years, I'd be surprised if he's not a decent card. And again, likely for upgrades. Sula looks pretty insane. Have to say, I think that card is going to be very, very good. Personally, I think the only thing you'd want to up is maybe a little bit on the passing or a little bit on the physicality and pace, depending on sort of how you want to run it. But for me, I think that card looks unreal, perfect in a back two. And Schlotterbeck, those two together, I imagine will be insane. I love Schlotterbeck this year. He's so good. Valverde, a little bit annoyed they went with him. He's got a player of the month. It's a little bit daft, I think, that they've released that. But the card itself is going to be unreal. His base card is insane. I played against his player of the month. Haven't got it because I can't afford it at the moment. And it is chef's kiss, bro. It's unreal. It's an insanely good card. Again, Real Madrid's a team you'd assume are going to go pretty far. So I would assume they're going to do pretty well. Thomas Lemar, another very good card. Again, it will be interesting to see if he can play out wide or just central, depending on how the position changes work on these. I'm not 100% sure. Obviously, we saw the Kulusevski has position changes, so I'd assume they will also have some. But Thomas Lemar, again, a real good-looking card, unreal-looking stats. Again, he's currently in my main team, and I love using him as a box-to-box sort of DM. I kind of have him stay back, but he does work his way forward because he is more than capable of doing so. Rttk. Really nice looking card. That passing is unreal. Depending on where you want to play him, I would suggest either a Hawk, a Hunter, or you could be that guy and you could actually go Engine and just... Oh, well, you could go Architect because that might change his run style to the... whatever the blooming OP one is. I've completely forgotten. But yeah, Odegaard looks really good. Very viable. Arsenal got some decent links and cards this year. Jesus is really good this year. So super easy with the Brazilian link off to other things as well. Obviously, you've got Haaland for the Norwegian link. You've got plenty of choices. Haaland, however, is so expensive. Rafinha, really good card this year. I think Ousmane Dembele's a better card, but obviously that's base versus base. This could maybe just tip the tide a little bit and have him be as good, but he's going to be a lot more expensive than just regular Ousmane Dembele. Barca's a bit of a tough one in knowing how they're going to do because they seem very hit and miss sometimes. Obviously, Lewandowski's coming in and is doing the business, but Barca they've got this thing above them. There's this cloud above them that kind of fills me with doubt as to how well they're going to do throughout the season. Rafinha could be an insanely good card. If he gets some upgrades too, he'll be very, very good. Konate, beast. Base card is unreal. This is going to be disgustingly good. I really do think this Konate card is going to be unreal. Liverpool just need to head down, win some games, and that Konate card will be disgusting. So personally, again, another definite pickup. Terrier, I have no idea how well they're doing in the league or in the what's it called? Sorry, the Europa League. My God, my brain. But that card looks really decent. I have to say, and I'm going to say sort of the same thing with Simon and Akone. Leagues that there aren't loads of great winger options. This immediately jumps in and becomes a very good one. That Bamba card we got, was it last year? It was either last year or the year before when Bamba got like an upgradable card. And he became really expensive because all of a sudden it was like, oh, he's like the best option we've got if you don't want like Neymar, who's very expensive, or you don't want Messi, who's very expensive and it's going to be out of packs at the moment. Anyway, I think Terrier looks really, really decent. I think he could be very, very viable. Decent pace, decent shooting, passing and dribbling looks insane. The physicality, again, I don't know what the split is, but he looks really good. Zambo Anguissa, one of my favorite cards in this whole list, and it's the third lowest one. Zambo Anguissa is disgustingly good. And there's so many good Napoli cards. There's the Kim card. Inform Raspadori is being slept on. Osman's great. There's some real good cards in this team, and Zambo Anguissa just looks fantastic. This is one of those cards that if he sort of ends up being pretty cheap, I'm just going to pick one up to have in the club and just keep hold of him because, again, they need to go through for it to kind of justify it. But I think he's going to be a super, super good viable card. If I need like Italian lead stuff for like objectives down the line, he'll be someone I'd love to use. And again, gets really good links to some very good players. Ikone, as I said with Terrier, similar deal. I'm not sure how they're doing in the group, but a decent looking card. I think Terrier's looks better. Ikone's, I think, looks good. You probably want to go with a Deadeye or something similar, depending on the dribbling, the agility and balance. But otherwise, Deadeye kind of makes that card look much better. Looking at 80 plus shooting, mid 80s on the passing. Physicality is a tad low, but again, the pace would kind of make up for it. And then Simon, pretty much exactly the same as Ikone. Deadeye on that card, and you're looking decent. Physicality is a little bit higher, so that kind of ticks that box. And again, absolutely rapid. But I have to say, in regards to the whole of this team, I think it's actually some really good players they picked. I really do. I think that one that I would have changed would have been Valverde, purely because of the fact that he obviously has got upgrade. Like, he's got an upgrade already. He's got the player of the month. Personally, would have liked to have seen it either go to Toni Kroos or would have liked to have seen it go to Tchouaméni, two other centre mids that play for Real Madrid. A little bit different, I think, as well. Camavinga, you could have also given the upgrade to, but there's a few different French players in there. So, you know, go with the German. could have been a little bit different with the Toni Kroos. Again, Tchouaméni would be French as well, so maybe argue with my own point there. I would say Toni Kroos maybe wouldn't have been as desirable a card as this Valverde, but I just think it would have been a better choice because we've already got special Valverde. And last but by no means least, we've got this Gosens card. Can't change to left mid like I think his base card can, which is a small shame, but 3-star for a left back. Again, it's not the end of the world. It's a shame as well, actually, that he can't go to left back. You kind of have to run him in a 5-back, which is a shame. I do personally think that's them missing a trick there. Could have just made it left back. I think all left wing backs and left backs should be able to swap. That's just me. Let me know your thoughts on that. Card itself, though, looks really, really, really good. Anchor, and you are laughing. Again, it could be you start in a 5 and he pushes up to left mid or pushes up. His work rates kind of stop it from being the case. He would be an insane CDM. That card at DM would be unreal, but you'd need to have him with someone who's very, very much just, I'm going to stay back and do a defensive job. But he could maybe do that job. I mean, stamina's really good. Jumping's insane, so he's going to be winning the balls in the middle of the park. The agility and balance, for me, is why you'd want him central rather than wide, potentially a little bit. But yeah, I think this card looks really good, and I don't think it's too difficult to do. You can do it in squad battles. It is so easy to do. Wow. Okay, fair play. What a card. But that is everything for the promo. Those are all the cards, as you guys saw. And I think, again, I think they've done pretty well with this team. I think the team looks pretty viable. There's a lot of pretty decent cards in there. Some that I think are going to be expensive. The likes of Foden, I think, again, just with links to Haaland. Cards that look good and have a link to Haaland right now are going to be expensive because Haaland is so good. I've played 3 one-to-watch Haalands, and I have had a nightmare every single time. They've all scored. I've managed to win 2 out of those 3, but he's a nightmare. The likes of Messi, the likes of that Valverde, the Lamar. There's some really, really solid cards in there. I think the promo looks really good. And again, I think EA have done well. Some nice changes this time around. Some different cards. Valverde's the main one that sticks out to me as a bit of a stinker that, again, it's similarities. But if you guys enjoyed this video, then let me know your thoughts on the cards down below and leave a like on it. It supports me, the video, the channel, and everything out a whole bunch. If you're new, hit that sub button, turn notifications on to be told anytime that we upload a video. Make sure you go and check out our live streams down below. Twitch and TikTok, links to both of them are in the description, along with our channel sponsors. Thank you, of course, to anyone and everyone who uses those codes. It supports me out a whole bunch more than you can imagine. But for now, guys, I want to say thank you for watching. I've been Tom. You guys have been awesome, and I'll see you soon. Look after yourselves, and of course, wash your hands in a bit.
Slap bald head, yeah, it'll probably hurt me. Bang top bins, it'll probably hurt you. Ginger, streamer, platform, YouTube. Drop a name in the chat, we'll say hello. Entertain, yeah, you already know. Capital H, yeah, I'm a read it slow. Hursty games, yeah, you already know.